You know that phrase that we say about kids all the time? They know better. I've had to confront something pretty humbling about that phrase in my own life. I knew better too. And sometimes I still couldn't do better yet. I'm Amy, a former special educator turned homeschool mom, and I help homeschool parents of kids with big behaviors understand what's really driving those behaviors so they can create calmer days and more cooperation at home. This week I'm sharing a bit about the teacher I used to be and how much my beliefs about children and behavior have changed over the course of my teaching career. And there was a period of time when I was caught somewhere in the middle. I knew yelling wasn't helping before I completely stopped yelling. I knew relationships mattered before I fully understood how to build the kind of relationships I wanted with my students. I knew punishment wasn't teaching some of my students the skills they were missing while I was still figuring out what to do instead of that. And I knew I wanted to respond differently before I consistently had the skills and the regulation to actually do so. And years later, I can see the irony in that statement so clearly, because how often do we look at a child and say that they know better? Like, you know better. You know you're not supposed to hit your brother. You know you can't sneak your iPad after bedtime. Or like, they know that screaming "I hate you" isn't how we talk to people. Or that you know what you're supposed to do when you get frustrated. And they may genuinely know all of those things. But knowing something intellectually and being able to access that knowledge when you are overwhelmed, angry, disappointed, impulsive, or dysregulated are very different developmental tasks. And adults aren't all that different. There were things I started to intellectually understand about children before I could consistently live out those beliefs in my classroom. The difference for me as the adult is that once I became aware, I had a responsibility to keep working on it. And that is an important distinction. Understanding why something is hard gives us context. It helps us identify the skills, regulation, support, or capacity that might be missing. And from there, we can actually work on what needs to grow. That's true when you're looking at yourself, and it's true when you're looking at your child. So the next time you find yourself thinking, but they know better, you gotta get curious about the space between the knowing and the doing, because that is often where the information you actually need is hiding. If you're homeschooling a child with big behaviors and emotions, follow along. This week, I'm sharing a little bit about my story and where I used to be up to where I am now.